Hello everybody, Grizzly Pig here and welcome. Today in this video I'm going to be talking about my Templar and I'm going to be building this for PvP, so we're going to be looking at what I'm going to do to get it there. I'm going to be talking about the armor sets I'm going to be going for. We're going to be talking about what points and attributes I'm going to be trying to hit, and also we're going to be talking about the skills as well, and I'm also going to be having a look at the outfit as well that I'm choosing. You can have a little look at that as well if you're interested. So let's get straight into it. First of all, on our head we're going to be taking the slime craw headpiece. We're going to do this just so we can get the crit chance. This is an optional item. I might even change this out for something more tanky or with a bit more sustain at some point in the future, but for now we're just sticking with the slime craw. And secondly, we're also going for the oaken soul ring. We're going for a 1-bar build here. So both of these two items are relatively easy to get. The slime craw helmet you can get from the Wayrest sewers on veteran mode from the last boss. Keep doing that until you've got the weight class of the helmet you want there. And then the oaken soul ring, of course, you have to do antiquities to get that. You have to get all the leads. You have to be level 7, I believe, in the antiquities skill lines. And moving on to the 5 set pieces here. First of all, I'm starting out, I'm going to be giving Night Mother's Gaze a go. This is predominantly an offensive set. I plan maybe on future moving to something more defensive, but on my second 5-piece set we're going to be trying out a defensive set as well. So I want to try a mix of defensive and offensive to start with. Night Mother's Gaze, I'm going to be crafting it myself as much as I can, and I'm going to do a mix of medium and heavy predominantly. I'm going to run one light piece so I can get the Undaunted metal passive in full swing there. We don't actually have the points for it yet. I'm going to have to do some leveling to get my skills up, because my Templar is basically a fresh level 50. I've done healing with her. I've never really done any DPS, only in a support capacity in dungeons. So this is really a fresh build for this character. Here you can see I'm crafting the stuff for my Templar on my Nightblade, because he is my crafter. There's one piece I can't craft here, so I'm going to have to give a shout out to this guy here, Ardathron. I think that's, I'm pronouncing it right, but thank you very much for crafting the legs for me. So the second 5-piece set we're going to be going for is the Robes of the Hist set, and this is purely a defensive set. It's going to give us a bit of health, it's going to give us a tiny bit of weapon and spell damage, some maximum magicka, which we're going to need in this build. We're going to need all of our magicka, health and stamina for this. It's going to be a stamina build predominantly, but we are going to need magicka because we're going to be using the most powerful execute in the game, Radiant Glory or the other morph, whichever is fine. And this is such a great set because if you are disabled, immobilized, snared, anything like that, you're going to be healing every 1 second for the next 5 seconds for about 2,000 health. This is going to scale with your healing capability and all that stuff, of course. Very powerful set in my opinion, so this is definitely one that I'm probably going to stick with and keep on pretty much all the time. We're just putting some enchants right now on the armor pieces and stuff. We're going to go for Bloodthirsty on the jewelry. We're going to go, I think I'm going to even run Oblivion on the weapons just to give that a go. We're going to be putting a mix of stamina, health and magicka on the armor pieces. I don't think I put any magicka on the armor pieces solely. It's going to be with the enchants. It's going to be, we're going to have the tri-stat ones on there, or it's going to be either stamina or health on their own, but they're expensive enchantments, those tri-stat enchantments, so I'm probably going to only run them on the chest, the legs and the shoulders maybe. Oh, the enchantments we're going to have on the jewelry as well are going to be Truly Superb Glyph of Physical Harm. That's going to do extra weapon and spell damage to targets that are under 90% HP. And for the traits on our armor, we're going to be using a mix of sturdy, well-fitted, and reinforced to increase our armor as well. So pretty much defensive or roll dodging stuff going on there. And on the weapons, we're going to be going for penetration on our traits. So we're messing about with our armor skin here now because it doesn't look very nice. The slime core helmet certainly doesn't go with the armor, and it's just not the look I want to go for. So we're going to change that about and look a bit nicer. We're going to make the maces look like swords, I think, because there's some nice looking swords and these things don't look very nice at all. So while we're doing this, going to talk a little bit about the abilities that I want to go for in this build. We're on the one bar, so we are quite limited, so it's going to be either one or the other in a lot of cases. But first of all, we are going to use Radiant Glory. This is our execute. It is the most powerful execute in the game, I think. So I'm going to give that a try, and I think I'm going to have lots of fun with this ability. That has to stay on the bar. That's not up for compromise. That's got to be there. Next up, we're going to be taking Biting Jabs. This is going to be our spammable. The thing is that this thing gives us major brutality, sorcery. These are things I believe that we get from the Oaken Soul Ring, so we're not getting the best value out of this ability here being on a one bar. But it deals nice damage and it looks really cool as well, so that is definitely going on there. Alternatively, I might even try Silver Shards. It's doing AoE. Biting Jabs also does AoE, by the way, in a way, because it works in a conical kind of way, and it's got a big reach as well. It's a very powerful ability. But Silver Shards is also an option that I am going to give a try as well and see which one works out the best of those. But I'd really like to stick with Biting Jabs personally. Next up, we're going to be using Binding Javelin, and this is going to be one that's got to be here because it's very important for our rotation. It's going to be a stun move, so it's an ability that we're going to initiate with, stun the opponent, come in with a Biting Jabs, and then hopefully finish him off with a Radiant Glory. So this, technically, it could be taken out if needs be, but it would mess up a lot, I think, with my rotation, so I'm thinking that that's got to stay there. Next up, we are going to be using a heal ability, and of course the Templar has got lots of healing abilities. We're going to try, first of all, Live in Dark. It's actually a shield, so it's going to reduce our enemy's movement speed when they hit us and heal us when they hit us as well. I'm going to try this one because I think it's very powerful. I see a lot of people using this, but I suspect that maybe I might have to take this off and replace it with another heal like Honor the Dead maybe instead. So this is a bit of a flex spot, but basically this slot is for my class heal. If I want a burst heal, I'm going to be taking it in this slot here, but for now the default is going to be Live in Dark. I want that shield. It looks awesome and it's a really good move that's going to help us from taking lots of damage potentially. And then for our last slot before we talk about the ultimate is going to be Resolving Vigor, and I'm always going to take this pretty much on every build I do, at least with a one bar, because it's just so powerful. It gives us resistance and it gives us a nice heal over time. So when I go into a fight pre-buff, I'm going to be popping this. I'm going to be having this on me. I'm also going to be having my Live in Dark up as well. So those two heal abilities, one's a shield, sorry, one's a heal. We're going to be popping those, and then we're going to be going in to the fight with a javelin, whatever we want, and we're going to be having lots of fun with that. Moving on to our ultimate, we're going to be using Dawnbreaker of Smiting. This is very powerful, and I just feel like this is the go-to one that I want to try out to begin with. I can't think of any other ultimate that I think would work that great with this kind of build, so we're going to go for that. This is going to also stun as well. It's an AoE and it just does mega damage. So this build, I'm expecting with these abilities here, although we're taking predominantly HP and survivability, I think we're going to be doing massive damage still, and also more particularly just going to be out damaging our opponents. And so you see we just got our necklace of his sap drop there. I wanted to show that because there's no need to go and buy it or anything like that. If you just go and do dolmens in Shadowfens, you can get the amulet very easily. The amulet or the ring, they both drop. And that was, I think, maybe, I don't know, about 4 or 5 dolmens maybe. You might be lucky, you might be unlucky, but it's good to get that as epic and really not blue if you can do. I also already have a ring of the Hissap that I bought legendary from the Alliance vendor, the golden vendor in Cyrodiil, and I've got a whole bunch of those, but I only need one, and that's legendary. So all of our jewelry sorted out there. We've got the Oaken Soul Ring, we've got the Ring of the Hist, we've got the amulet, and then the weapons I actually brought from the auction house as well as my shoulders. That's the Hist I'm still talking about now on the shoulders, and the weapons I brought those from the auction house. They weren't actually the cheapest, but they weren't overly expensive either. I think the cheapest item was about 8,000 and the most expensive one was about 40,000. One of the maces I think cost me 40,000, which I felt crazy for paying for, really. I was almost thinking about using different weapon types, but it's still cheap enough. This hasn't cost me a huge amount in the end. If you look at the fact that most of the things I've either got drop, made myself, or brought from the Alliance vendor, like the legendary ring there, I think it's a very, very good build set up for relatively little amount of gold. And I haven't quite got my abilities leveled up as they need to be to morph them correctly, and I haven't got my passives for my armor yet, so I'm just running dungeons and doing some more dolmens and stuff like that to get all of those up ahead of actually trying out my first battleground with this build. So that's going to take me some time. I think I'm running a scroll. Yeah, I am. I'm not running armor of the training or anything like that. I'm just wearing what I've got. So basically the item sets that we've been talking about in this video, we're pretty much there. We're just trying to get the passives up and all that stuff. So we're coming to the end now. I'm not going to talk about combat points or anything like that. We're just building for a battleground at the minute. So here we are, a summary of my item pieces and my hotbar that I'm going to be going for. So next video is going to be a part 2. I am going to be showing you how well we do in the battlegrounds. So thank you for watching, and I hope you're going to join me next time to see how we do. If you made it this far, I'd like to say a big thank you. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like this. It would help my channel out a lot. I also do videos where I talk more in detail about my builds, as well as other Elder Scrolls Online content, guides, discussions, etc. Please feel free to ask questions or say hi in the comments, as I do reply to all of them when I can. Thanks again, and see you next time.